My name is Nelson Ho, H-O. I would like to call for the EIS determining a no-action alternative. That's the best of all the three choices that are given to us. I think that all of the people here who feel that same way should state that, if nothing else, that you want, based on your knowledge, the Navy to choose the no-action alternative. The U.S. is already the most warring nation on the planet. They already control the largest military theater on the planet, the Pacific Ocean. There is no need to further toxify, poison, and lay waste to the oceans surrounding this archipelago. It is unnecessary. The military has not cleaned up its warfare training grounds that go back to before World War II. They're all over this archipelago. It's not a state. They should clean up, they should use the money that will go into this military activity to clean up what they have dirty and polluted before any further thoughts of training.
Aye.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jan Ruggles, and I am a Hawaii County Council representative of Puna District 5. I'd first like to thank everyone who came out today. I'm thanking you, and I also thank you for listening patiently. I'm thanking everybody for their heartfelt and genuine cries for reason in this plan. Just to get down to it, to expect us to read an 800-page document is unrealistic. And it is the Navy's duty to be as transparent as possible in this process. And this book that we were given, I was very disappointed because it is not transparent. It appears to be a sugar-coated justification of why we need to do these testings, but not what. It lacks the details of what actually you are proposing to do. You talk about looking for mammals before you employ the explosives. You speak, but you don't speak to the actual aftermath of the residue, the residual post-explosive material that can contaminate and circulate in the waters. The tests will disperse radioactive materials contaminating our water and have large steam over a large area over the water, severe impacts to all of our ocean life, and not just the mammals, but humans. And the fact that we need to talk about mitigation impacts indicates that we're mitigating damage and that there will be damage. It was only after I asked every single one of these representatives that I learned that they're going to be testing this in between Kona and Maui in that channel. That's not even in this book that they handed. Yeah, it's going to be right off the coast of Kona, and they're doing this in Hilo. And we also talk about being a responsible steward. When you talk about being a responsible steward, it's kind of an insult to our intelligence, especially after Kaho'olawe, where the Navy was directly involved in cracking the aquifer. There is no fresh water on Kaho'olawe anymore. And so now we talk about you're convincing us that you'll be a responsible steward, while Kaho'olawe is still there, it still needs to be cleaned up, it's still damaged, it's still poison. You can't tell us that you're going to be stewards and while employing explosives and sonar in our ocean without first attempting to even address the elephant in the room. I am opposed to this process moving forward. Any amount of sonar and explosives in our ocean is not welcome. It's not okay. I request you to adopt a no-action alternative and proceed with Section 106 consultations as sacred sites have been identified by a cultural practitioner. Thank you.
Mahalo for your emails. Yeah. Mahalo.
Aloha, my name is Kuhan Pak. It's spelled P as in Paul, A-I-K. I think one could easily describe the bloated $700 billion U.S. military in one word, and that would be overkill. The U.S. military possesses 6,800 nuclear warheads. Overkill. The U.S. military is the largest institutional polluter on the planet and the largest emitter of greenhouse gases of any institution on the planet. The U.S. military has informed us in the last EIS, well not actually in the EIS for the Gulf of Alaska, that we can expect 182,000 takes of marine mammals for the 11 days of military naval exercises that take place annually for the years between 2015 and 2020 in the Gulf of Alaska alone.
Shame is right.
Across the Pacific, on the other side, on the north shore of Australia, we have a military exercise called Talisman Sabre, in which Australian and U.S. troops, totaling 33,000 troops, come together with warships, destroyers, helicopters, amphibious assault vehicles, an aircraft carrier, and over 200 aircraft. One of their exercises includes dropping bombs on the Great Barrier Reef. Overkill.
Ignorance.
So it's amazing because at one time these Navy practices were as random as, say, cell phone reception in the 1990s. But under Obama, this big push to sell weapons to Asian countries took place, especially under Defense Secretary Ashton Carter, who used to work in the defense industry, and as a result, now all of the developing nations in Asia can do Navy war practice. So we have just finished this week 3 days of Navy war games in the Sea of Japan between India, Japan, and the US. We have games annually with India in the Bay of Bengal. We have games annually that are huge with the Philippines,
Go team go.
which is the Coral Triangle, which is near the South China Sea, where there's a lot of action going on. And we have joint military practice in the South China Sea with Singapore, with Indonesia, with Bangladesh, with Brunei, with Cambodia, Malaysia, Thailand, Timor-Leste, and Vietnam. It just doesn't end. Overkill. So researchers have said that whales can hear up to 10,000 miles away, which is roughly the same distance as from Asia to North America. And we've got all of this going on. Ladies and gentlemen, we are witnessing an undersea Holocaust.
Absolutely.
Holocaust. Thank you.
Le hono ko hau I ke aloha o na hulu kufuna he I ka pula alo aku I ka mana ka ni ka leo ka manu walo I ka ilikai vehe o ke ala ho ia ke ala o ka mauli pa ka pai pai o ke au malama malama ho o la ka loko ai nga o ka malindo. Aloha mai kako. My name is Ruth. Most of you know me. My last name is Aloha, A-L-O-U-A. I'm pretty sure they already got me on the books. So what am I calling for? I'm calling for no action. I'm calling for deoccupation. I'm calling for demilitarization. I'm calling for a stop to all live fire training, Navy and military. You can send that to your friends. And I'm calling for an immediate cleanup of all the mess that you guys made in our homelands and those of our friends.
Yeah.
So y'all came up here earlier thinking that we were ignorant. We're not ignorant. We know your tactics and we know what you're up to. You said you want aloha. Why should we give you that? Why should we give the Navy our aloha, or the military our aloha, when you guys are poisoning our lands, our waters, and our people? Please tell me why you deserve aloha. You're proud? What are you proud of? I only flipped through 5 pages and I've seen hundreds, if not thousands, of our finned and our winged relatives that will be impacted by the games that you folks plan to play. What are you proud of? Because I'm going to tell you, there's nothing to be proud of in this plan. And I have aloha for you, and I just gotta say this. When a native woman from Hawaii comes up here to speak and is educated and is a cultural practitioner, put your signs away. Know when to put these things away. These people, you're lucky they came tonight. These people are asking for them, for their help, and they're here to help you, and you're gonna put your sign up? Take your signs to Pohakulo and tell them to stop. Tell them to stop. They're doing this for their aloha. So I looked through the plan, and what I want to know is, why are you guys not talking about the heartbreaks of our people? Huh? Why not? Look at these people. Our hearts break. I go into these communities and I hear their cries. When Kanaloa washes up on shore, bring your signs, bring your posters. All of y'all getting paid for this, you come too. Give us your names, give us your numbers, give us your telephone numbers, your mailing address, because the hearts of our people are breaking every time a bomb drops. That's the truth. Now, you might think I'm angry. I'm not angry. There's a sense of urgency in my voice. How much money did you folks spend on this plan? How much money did you folks spend on this pathetic public outreach? You're not even going to all the main towns. Kona, 2.5 miles, 2.5 hours away? 5 hours total. They gotta drive out here. You silencing Kona, you silencing Ka'u, you silencing Puna, Kohala, all these districts that should be heard, they're not being heard. How adequate is this? It's inadequate. That's the bottom line. So while you're ahead of the game and you haven't even started, put these plans away. Get all the money that you planned on doing your revisions and your drafts. Go and feed our people. House them. Our people are hungry.
Clean up.
The education system needs money, and clean up. Let's start with Koholave. You want aloha? I'll show you aloha when you clean up Koholave. Clean up the ocean over there. And then move your way. Actually, if you can do it at the same time, clean up Pohakuloa too. Because our people don't want this here. And I gotta say this, that your uniforms actually make our people uncomfortable. Your presence puts us into fear. I'm not in fear anymore. I'm just going to say what it is. Who did you ask? The people are here. The people have spoken. You have no legal authority. The environmentalists have shown up and educated you. What are you going to do with this? Do as you please? What is the point? Why are we even doing this? Think about that. Let that sink in. Think about the heartbreak of our people. Put your names, put your mailing addresses, put your emails. Because let me tell you, our people's hearts break every time our relatives are damaged, whether it's in the ocean or whether it's in the land. And that's what you need to start answering to.
Aye.
Thank you for having me. My name is David Sansone, Sansone. And thank you all for being here tonight, taking the time to come up and express how you feel. So I too would like to see no action on the sonar training, because I'm opposed to all U.S. Navy activity and operations in Hawaii, including war games and sonar training, because number one, the Kingdom of Hawaii is occupied and has been over 100 years. There is no treaty of annexation with the Kingdom of Hawaii, so I encourage you all, the decision makers, to do your homework and talk to the other commander up at the base. He's been talked to, he knows the status. And they're always changing the commanders, right? Changing who's in charge so that they can't really keep up with the people on the ground here. But also, the U.S. is putting everyone in Hawaii at risk with this training, and then also using Hawaii more or less as a launching pad to attack other locations on Earth. The corporate media and the government-funded patriotism masked the reality that the U.S. is actually the world's largest aggressor, with a military that is larger than the 7 next countries combined. Yemen right now is basically underneath genocide and is being funded by the U.S. There's military training for so many countries where we've subverted democracies, kingdoms, or communist countries, whatever they are, the reason is they want the resources, and it's not for us, it's for the elites. So, I'm opposed to the sonar training because of the legacy of practices imposed by foreigners in the past in Hawaii. Sugarcane plantations extensively used arsenic-based fertilizers before it was known it was a threat to human health. Now, Hawaii's soils are contaminated with arsenic. Wherever sugarcane was grown, there's arsenic in that soil. So if you're growing food, you have to scrub it. There's also lead. And the lesson learned is you don't know what you don't know. And when it comes to the sonar, we can get information, but you know, what's going to happen 50 years down the road when people scratch their head and say, oh, we didn't realize that at the time. Thank you. I'll finish. I just ask you to look deep within your hearts, the decision makers, look deep within your hearts and stand for what's right, even if it's not convenient. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bishoda?
Yes. Aloha Bishoda.
Thank you, and-
Ciota.
Thank you.
I need all the minutes I can have. Okay. I am a member of the Papahana Moku Cultural Working Group, the founder of Kai Palawa, of which Roxanne Stewart is a member, and some of our other members are here. We're a marine ocean organization, and my testimony is on behalf of Kai Palawa and Mauna Kea Naina Hou, of which I am the president. First of all, you've heard everybody talk about the treaties. I'm going to talk about that you don't have the treaty. I'm going to talk about the treaties you do have with the Hawaiian Kingdom, for which I am also a subject of the kingdom. And the United States is occupying Hawaii. What I want to say first is the kanaloas, which are all whales, dolphins, anything that breathes air and swims in the ocean, generally, teach us from our chant of creation. They actually were born way before we were. They actually helped to sing all of us humans into being. So they are our elder sibling, and for us they are our amakua. And this pathway of this project goes directly in the pathway of their migrations. And those are also our human migrations, by the way. Those pathways are known by our kupuna, and our people are also in California. My auntie went to some of the tribes, and they met us many years ago during the time of Cortez and Montezuma's war. They have ki'is that are carved of our people and our canoes. So we are connected to this whole corridor where all of this is to go on. So we oppose it. We definitely want the no action alternative. But I need to lay down also, Kai Palawa was a witness for the lawsuit from Earth Justice, and we were a witness for Conservation Council. But this consultation is one level, but we're requesting consultation under the Office of Native Hawaiian Relations in DC. Because the treaty you do hold is in mutual friendship. Treaties are to be honored. So here's a couple other things. I want to request consultation, direct consultation with the Navy, with the Native Hawaiian community. Also Section 106 consultation, because we have sacred sites that will be affected. Anytime any of the kanaloas are affected and they affect Native Hawaiian practice and religion, we get that consultation. So we're formally asking the Navy to begin those consultations with the Hawaiian community again. 3 minutes is not enough, and it's disrespectful to just come here and give only people 3 minutes and hold up signs on such an important issue. And also, just one second, I'm almost done. You need to include cumulative impact. Cumulative impact is past, present, and reasonable foreseeable. So that includes all of the Navy action in the Pacific needs to be a part of this EIS.
Aye.
Next we have Lila Anderson.
Hi, my name is Lila Anderson, Anderson, and I'm here to protest against the sonar because we have a special whale, and they go by the name of blackfish, and they do not migrate. They stay here. They have made an aggregate site here, and the Hawaiian Islands are very special to have these animals here. And the sonar testing penetrates the mind of usually like whales, and it really, really hurts them because they can hear a very long distance away. And sometimes they could be a little bit too close to where the sonars are being tested, or a little bit in between. So it hurts them either way as long as they are in the range of the explosion or sonar testing. And they can strand themselves from trying to get away from the sound. They can do many things from getting away from the sound. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
I'd like to speak on behalf of our cetacean relations, from their perspective. Dolphins and whales are completely acoustic creatures. Their survival is dependent upon being able to see underwater, which is often murky, and it gets dark out. They can't be without sight for any period of time. They see with sound. They also speak with sound. When a dolphin or a whale is deafened, it is blind. And it might not be evident right away. They cannot find food, they can't navigate. But they may be out there for 3 weeks or 4 weeks or however long it takes for them to starve to death. So any environmental impact statement, it must extend to at least a month after an explosion or a sonic blast, because that's how long it takes for a dolphin or a whale to starve to death. Any incident of a marine mammal appearing on a beach, anywhere nearby or maybe even far away, has to be possibly attributed to whatever testing has taken place. It's been known that whales, when they're in Hawaii and they change their songs, the humpback whales in Mexico will change their songs as well. So their acoustic ability travels all the way across oceans through thermoclines. We've only begun to understand the sensitive nature of their acoustic abilities. Dolphin trainers often learn that they're pregnant from their dolphins that see a tiny baby inside of them. They have ultrasound, these creatures. So that would be my comment, that any environmental statement is expanded geographically and over a period of time that allows for, and therefore blinded by this activity. Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No worries.
Thank you, Ms. Sandberg.
Aloha, my name is Idine Elena Sandberg. If I represent anything, it would be the whales. I'm a trained speech and language pathologist. I also studied audiology at a master's level. We're talking about numbers here around 300 decibels. That is louder than any of us have ever heard. These sounds carry hundreds of miles. I mean, even whales can speak to each other, like we're talking about from continent to continent. If these sounds are going off, even if it's near Hawaii or Alaska or wherever it is, these sounds are carrying. And if there's any whales or porpoises within an area anywhere close to that, I mean, 300 decibels is probably 3 or 4 times what a jet sounds like if you're right next to the engine. It's huge noise. And I did study porpoise and whale communication when I was in college, and it's very intricate, and it is incredibly important for them to be able to hear each other. At this point, whales have had to change the pitch of their song to be able to be heard above the rumble of all the noise that's already in the oceans from the boats. So they're singing at a higher pitch, which doesn't even reach as far. So we're already affecting the whales, even if we're not putting 300 decibel blasts in the ocean. That being said, I'm actually here to tell you about a dream that I had with the whales. I was up on the Hamakua coast overlooking the ocean, miles of blue, and the entire ocean erupted with whales, breaching as far as I could see, and my heart soared for all of these whales, all of these beautiful creatures that we have on this earth. And it sank in the same instant when I realized that they were all beaching themselves. They were all coming in to the land. And I asked them in my dream, why? Why are you doing this? And they said, because we measure our lives in level of enjoyment. And we're not enjoying ourselves here on this planet any longer. And if that's how we're going to treat our creatures, then maybe we don't deserve them. Which is why possibly we are in the midst of the sixth extinction age on this planet. And right now it's being caused by human activity. We're losing 100,000 creatures every year. Every 5 minutes we lose another species. And so I just ask that we walk wisely in this time. We're very powerful right now, and we need to move in the right direction for the right reasons. You know, so why are we doing these things? Why do we really need to? I call for a no action alternative. I actually call for an opposite action alternative. Let's make the oceans quieter for our whales.
Aloha mai. Because I'm a Kanaka, I get this protocol. Our protocols is to first kahea to our kupunas and our aumakuas, to call them to be present in this room with us today. So whoever's in the crowd would like to join me in E ho mai, please do. E ho mai kai ke mai luna mai e, o na mea una noea o na mere. E ho mai, e ho mai, e ho mai. My name is Earl De Leon. Kapuledi, Kapuledi, Keo Kalani Kupo, Pai Kalani Nui Maere. From the south side of Moko Okeawe, Kukuyo Pai. I stand before you today as an old-time warrior, one of the first Kanakas, and 21 years old. If you guys don't know me, one of the first guys got arrested on the island of Kaholabi during the time of the bombing. I was 21 years old at that time. I never knew what I was doing, where I was going, and why I was going. All I knew is that the kupunas took me there. They took me there for one reason, to open my maka, to open my na'au, to open my brains to see what was they was doing there. We watched day after day. The flares go up at night. They bomb the shit out of that island. Bomb, 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 bomb. The whole island, Maui, Molokai, Lanai, all the islands shaking. And guess what? They never stopped. Took us, crazy Kanakas, to go over there at night, 2 o'clock in the morning, swimming to the island from 200 yards out in the ocean, while they was bombing the island. They were shooting bombs, Rimpac, from the ocean onto the land. And these 7 crazy Kanakas went onto that island to stop that bombing. Because that's our tutu, that's our papahanau moku.
Yep.
That is our relation. This moku aina Hawai'i is our mother, earth. She has a name. Her name is Papahanau Moku. So, being on the island of Kaholawi, I learned what aloha aina is. Aloha aina. To love something like you love yourself. Like your grandmother. You don't prostitute your grandmother. You don't hurt your grandmother. You malama your grandmother. You malama your mother. You take care of your ohana. You take care of your ohana. And it just doesn't stop on the aina. It goes into the ocean as far as your eye can see. Walking on that island, knowing that any minute, any second, bombs all around us. As soon as we jump into that water, we swimming, you can see bombs pop all inside of Pohaku, all over the island. Would kill me. Inside of me, my heart was like, how can anybody do this to this island? How can you kill our Mother Earth? But America, the most terrorized country in the world, continues to do this 40 years later. I stand before you. I was the first EIS hearing in 1977 in Kona, fighting to stop the bombing of Kaholawi. I am proud to say that we will stop them on Kaholawi. But they came over here to Pohakuloa. They were in Makua Valley. We were in Makua Valley. We stopped them over there. We have a big battle right now in Pohakuloa, in the ocean. I look on the land, all the bombs on the land. Can you imagine what get in the ocean? The pollution, the desecration. It has to stop. It has to stop. Barakale's testimony, eloquent, no jurisdiction. Laila, your testimony, beautiful, unbelievable. When a child has to stand up and remind us our kuleana. When one child has to remind us what our kuleana is. What is our responsibility to this mokuaina Hawai'i? You all live here, every one of you guys. Filipino, Japanese, Chinese, no matter what you are. You is a people, you is a human being. Your kuleana is to malama this aina. Malama the air.
Mr. De Leon.
Malama everything that is around you.
Thank you, sir.
It's our kuleana to take care of that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Kalamayawu.
Thank you for your comment. Next is Roxanne Stewart. Thank you for your comment. You can give your name, and if you wouldn't mind, please, and a reminder for everybody, please spell your last name for the court reporter. Thank you.
My name is colleague Rimpac with Ahakanaka Council Moko Keawe, GUMAPAC. On January 16th through the 17th, 2018, the International Commission of Inquiry from the Permanent Court of Arbitration at The Hague will convene a hearing in Honolulu. The Commission is requested to determine first what the function and role of the government of the Hawaiian Kingdom in accordance with basic international humanitarian laws. Second, what are the duties and obligations of the government of the Hawaiian Kingdom towards all Hawaiian subjects domiciled in Hawaiian territory? And third, what are the duties and obligations of the government of the Hawaiian Kingdom towards protected persons who are domiciled in the Hawaiian territory? Evidence of war crimes in the Hawaiian Kingdom will be introduced that will include violation of international humanitarian laws, admission of no treaty of annexation exists between the United States and the Hawaiian Kingdom, the unlawful occupation of a military force in a neutral state, and more. Here's an example. Complaints were filed by Attorney Dexter Kayama with the U.S. Pacific Command, Office of United Nations High Commissioner of Human Rights in Geneva, Switzerland, against a fake state of Hawaii judges, depriving his clients, who are Hawaiian Kingdom subjects, of their right to a fair and regular trial during occupation. Being a war crime under the 1949 Geneva Convention 4, the basis of the complaints were the 1893 Liliuokalani Assignment and Restoration Agreement, known as the Executive Agreements, between she and President Cleveland. International compacts of 1907 Hague Convention 4 and the 1949 Geneva Convention 4 and the U.S. Army Field Manual 27-10. County of Hawaii Police Officer Leland Park initiated the inquiry in September 2012 as part of his duty as to potentially look at serious law enforcement issues and government problems. He stated that he began the inquiry to see how he would be affected as a police officer and if it would pose potential problems for law enforcement and government officials. On November 8, 2012, Park called the headquarters of the U.S. Pacific Command at Camp Smith in Honolulu and spoke with Ronald Winfrey, a Principal Deputy Sheriff Judge Advocate, JAG officer. And at that time, he told Winfrey of his concerns and how these complaints could affect his duties as a police officer. When asked about the complaints, Winfrey said he knows about those complaints and he has read it precisely and it was written very well. Pa said that he began and Winfrey responded, "Oh yes, I know about those because there is not a treaty of annexation that exists." And so, to finish up, I've got a whole bunch of other stuff that I wanted to include in here. The territorial waters of the Hawaiian Kingdom exist of 16 islands. And in those 16 islands, there is a total of 6,427,074 square miles, which includes Hawaii, Maui, Oahu, Hawaii, Molokai, Lanai, Ni'ihau, Kaho'olawe, Nihoa, Molokini, Lehua, Kaula, Basan, Lisiansky, Palmyra, and Ocean. And the Navy is violating our neutral territories by doing that. You must stop.
Aloha, everyone. My name is Ronald Fujiyoshi, Fujiyoshi. Up until this year, I was the pastor at the Ola First Hawaiian Church. My experience with EIS is it is a shibai. It's a drama, a procedure that they force you to go through, but it doesn't make any difference because they do whatever they wanted to do in the first place. So here you bring nice-looking people, clean-shaven, a short haircut to give you an impression that everything is clean and nice when you have to look at the bigger picture. The Navy first came to Hawaii because they wanted Pearl Harbor. And Pearl Harbor, for its military strategic presence here for the whole Pacific. And I think that's the basic reason why they're here. And then you see what they have done in polluting Pearl Harbor. And then you heard from Brother Earl de Leon about what they did to Kaho'olawe. So that's the big picture. So what do you really want the Navy to do? I grew up on Kauai, and I was honored to be arrested twice at PMRF. Now, PMRF, you know, was a sacred burial ground. And Kalakaua, when he was ill, went over to the PMRF burial grounds to get the mana from the bones, so that even they take a sacred place like mana on Kauai and make it for their own military purposes. So I think here in Hawaii, as well as all of the Pacific, we go on a culture of hospitality. When you take something, you give something back, you know? I see what the Navy has not been a good neighbor. It's been giving a facade of being a good neighbor, being clean-shaven, but all it's been doing is taking. Now, if you really want to give back, I think what you should do is, for example, we have a problem with housing in Hawaii. The Navy should give half of their housing and then build more housing for people who can't afford housing. Or they should make a commitment that Navy will no longer participate in using puakulo for training. I think that's what they said.
My name is Nancy Monroe, and I found out this past January that I am a Blue Star mother. I have a son that's in the U.S. Marines. I found this out when I was standing with Jim Albertini and Cindy Sheehan on Wainui'Nui Avenue protesting the bombing at Mohakulua. Cindy has earned the achievement of being a Gold Star mother. Her son died. I don't want to be a Gold Star mother. I understand the need for training that the military has and the purpose of that training. More than half of the U.S. budget goes to the military, and I don't feel like we are no longer protecting freedom. We're fighting for oil, and we're fighting for corporate greed. And by what authority is the Navy even within 12 miles of Hawaiian coastal shores? We all know now, and if you don't know, you haven't been listening, there's no lawful treaty of annexation making Hawaii part of the United States. Without a treaty, this is an illegal occupation. We are almost on the eve of the 100th anniversary of the death of Queen Liliuokalani. When I learned the truth about the Queen, and that she was supposed to have been restored to the throne by order of the President after an investigation, it changed my life. Without a treaty, you have no business being here. The military is occupying Hawaii unlawfully. The Hawaiian Kingdom would be just fine, just like Switzerland is fine, with treaties with dozens of other countries. And America has been a poor steward of these islands. The invasive species capital of the world. Kaho'olawe is wrecked. I've been there. You better not step beyond the path. You could blow up. They've had a cleanup effort that has failed, $60 million and more. The American military is a huge polluter of the world. Also, who gives the permit? If you have an EIS and say, oh, everything's going to be fine. What are the acceptable take levels? Who authorizes the permit? Who's authorized to give a permit? These are questions that aren't answered yet. That's really all I have to say. I believe that the decisions are already made. Public hearings are just a show. No matter what anybody says, it's a done deal. We're just here fulfilling a requirement that a public hearing is held. Thank you.
Yeah.
And when I hear people talking about just what's happening here, what you're doing to our Kanaloa in the Mediterranean, oh, Fungulu, I mean, it's bad. You in Sardinia, that is a temple. I come from Sicilia, that's Mungiberu. You better know where you go. And I know you're just a puppet. You're just a puppet back there too. Because they bring the nicest, sweetest ones here. But you go back and tell them. Because there's no place in the Mari, in the sea, in Papahanua, in Terremoto, nowhere do you deserve to be bombing. Anywhere. No lake, no water, it is all kapu aloha. That means sacred. Put your children in there and imagine you killing them. You have children? Do you have children? Okay. So imagine you killing. These are our kupuna. Now I can hear them talking too. They saved my life once, told me get off that boat, because at that time, that was 1976, you guys in the military backing the Guatemalan military, where I was going back, raping and killing everybody. Nobody was spared, even the nuns were raped and killed. You talk about good stewards, and then you're in Haiti, when I'm in Haiti, raping the women. You have a thing of rape. Take over, rape, take over. Whether it's women, whether it's in the ocean, whether it's our land, that's our mama. You got to get that in your head. These are our kupuna. Are the Kanaloa all over the oceans? So get out of Sardinia. 950 bases in this world. You guys need to learn peace. Make love to your wives. Make love to your people. Love. Stop the wars. There's nothing to practice anymore except for breathing and peace. We done. All you're doing is backing big companies. That's all you're doing. You're not preparing us for war. You're setting us up for war. You never came to Hawaii to do anything but to start World War II and drop the bombs, because you had so many nuclear bombs, and I did take a good course last year from Stanford. You have so many nuclear weapons all over. You now, in my homeland, have combined NATO and the U.S. military. Sicilians were promised their sovereignty right after World War II. What'd you do? You went in bed with the Pope and the Italian Mafia. Have we got our lands back? Do these guys have their lands? These guys are 2 islands directly across from each other. They carry the Maunas. You'll never win. We will win. Because the Maunas and the water will take care of it. But what do they have to do? Are you going to kill everything? Is that what your job is? What is your job? What is your kuleana? Because you're killing these guys. And you have no right to rape and kill anymore. You're done. You need to pack your stuff up, do your retirement, get your Social Security, whatever you need to do, you need to leave. And you need to go back to your bosses and tell them, we're not putting up with this. And same with Rimpac. I got airplanes flying over my head. I'm a traditional midwife. So I wake up all the time when I hear sounds. I got 3 or 4 routes in the middle of the night. You need to stop your flying. You fly over our beaches. You fly everywhere. You trigger us. And trust me, it's hard to stay in the aloha, stay in the peace. But you need to stop your war games here and everywhere else. You need to stop. You need to go inside, fix your own problems, your own war inside, go back to your bosses and tell them we're leaving.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Alden. Thank you very much. Thank you for your comment.
Aloha. My name is Michelle Prevost. It's with a Prevost. I am an activist, a protector of our sacred Mother Earth. There are most likely dangers to sea life from the underwater testing the Navy does. We need to respect the life that keeps our world healthy and in balance. I do not feel the Navy is doing this. There will be serious consequences if we do not respect this balance. I feel greed is rampant in America. It's an epidemic. Let's do what is pono, what is good, and protect what is left, what is sacred. We must do this for our children and beyond. Science has been proven wrong many times. They are not God, goddess. Protect sea life's home. If the ocean dies, we die. Mahalo.
Hello, my name is Larry Sellers. I've been in Hawaii for 20 years. And with the Navy, I was drafted. I served aboard an aircraft carrier, CV-62, off the coast of Vietnam and all over, basically. And the damage they do is etched in my brain. I was never so ashamed of anything in my entire life. When everything that come aboard that ship, of 5,000 people, they threw in the water. Every pound. And when they stopped in shore, they would bring this great big huge log out and hook it on a big huge cable or a chain and drag it behind the aircraft carrier. And the F-4s would come up and shoot 50 caliber machine gun bullets into the water half the day long. Then they would practice with throwing their bombs, the 50-pound bombs, all day long. And all the crap, it went over into the ocean. And just 5,000 men. Every 5 days, we used 1,200,000 gallons of kerosene. I was an ABF. I worked above deck and below deck, fueling planes. 1,200,000 200,000 gallons. The planes could never take off half empty because they might only be on a route that only used half the fuel. They would dump the rest of it out in our oceans. I was ashamed then, and I'm ashamed now. And this is only one ship. They have so many ships. I was one of the biggest formation of naval ships in the history of the world in 1976. I don't even know. 300 or 400 ships were all together from all these different countries, and all their shit going in the water. I was ashamed then, I'm ashamed now. It's etched into my brain. And how we can let this keep going on, we got to keep talking, we got to talk to each other, we got to make all this known. We use 5 million or 4 million gallons of diesel fuel every 5 days. I don't know what else to say, but I'm not for this action at all.
Good evening, my name is Katie Benjamin. I was born a resident of the United States and I'm a settler living in the Kingdom of Hawaii. As someone who was born in the United States, I spent a long time looking at the way the United States behaves in the world. And much like the gentleman who just spoke before me, I felt a deep shame for the way the US treated its own people, treated people overseas, and most especially ashamed of the money, the resources, and the mentality of the US military. I've been taught by many of the wonderful people in this room what it means to have settler kuleana, what it means to respect the host. So when you are a guest for a year, when you are a guest for 10 years, when you are a guest for a lifetime, you are a guest, and you ask permission. And when you ask permission, if you can blow up bombs on Pohakuloa, on Ho'olawe, to blow up bombs in our oceans, and your host culture says no, no means no. We live in an entire culture, an entire rape culture. We're thinking about it all the time, we're talking about it. Consent matters. No means no. And sometimes you don't have to have a big long list of numbers and things that look super nice. Oh, look at all of these beautiful, expensive poster boards. All the information, all the propaganda. Sometimes simply saying no means no. When someone tries to come and violate my body and I say no, I don't have to come up with a spreadsheet on why. No means no. So, as a former resident of the United States and a current resident humbly in the Kingdom of Hawaii, I say no to all of this. I say no to all interventions of the U.S. government here, of the U.S. military. Get off Pohakuloa, get out of our oceans, get out of our air, go home.
I really want you guys to feel the emotion, yeah, that our people are trying to portray to you, trying to communicate with you all, because we could go on and on about all the things that you guys have done to us, that you've done to yourselves, that you've done to the world, that we've done to ourselves. We could go on and on. The history is 124 years deep here, 224 years deep here. you know, how many thousands of years around the world, but we have a chance. We always have a chance, and I don't know if it's because it's Makahiki right now, right? Lono's here, so you know it's kind of it's kupai naha that you guys are here during our time of peace, right? When we're lifting our peace gods as well, you know. So in that sentiment, I just want to portray to you guys our aloha, you know, and that's why we're here, and that's why we want you guys to stop bombing, stop the sonar testing, no action, please. Yeah. We can have other kind of action, like, you know, Uncle Danny, a bunch of these guys have a lot of really good ideas. Yeah, I don't want you guys to forget. Yeah, we can practice how to take care of the land and clean up after our messes. We can practice how to, you know, take care of our resources and protect them in those ways. You know, maybe in the future, we can have a better relationship. There won't be so much feeling, so much eha, so much trauma that we have to feel like we have to share with you guys. Because all of it is so real. Yeah, it's real. And I know you guys feel it too. And I know you guys can only do so much with it. And I know I only got so much time here with you guys. But in the spirit of Makahiki, you know, please stop. And there's another way we can help each other do that. Mahalo.
Jim Albertini, I'm here to share a song I wrote 32 years ago. 1985, the year after myself and others did a swim for peace in Hilo Bay to uphold our nuclear-free zone, the first nuclear-free zone in the United States, against a visiting nuclear warship from Pearl Harbor. And this is a shortened version of a song called The Ballad of Pearl Harbor, Matthew chapter 7, verse 6. And it starts off, "Do not give what is holy to dogs, or cast your pearls before swines. They will trample them underfoot at best, perhaps even tear you to shreds." We showered you with our pearls, but you wanted even more. You took away our mother pearl, raped, plundered, and trampled her. We were blinded by your breath of fire. You made us very proud. We worshipped you not knowing we're losing our soul. Take back the pearl for the people. Let Mother Pearl shine again. And give life back to the land. And welcome all of her rainbow children that bridge the ocean of peace. You poisoned the waters, you destroyed the fish ponds, you killed the fish and the oysters, and desecrated holy lands. You put up fences and iron gates, you brought in disease and waves of death. Take back the pearl for the people. Let Mother Pearl shine again. And give life back to the land. And welcome all of her rainbow children that bridge the ocean of peace. We have been fools. Now we're going to change it. We have been fools. Eyes are now opening. No longer will we worship you or follow in your ways. Depart from us with your poison quills and deadly unhatched eggs. Everybody, take back the pearl of the people. Let Mother Pearl shine again. And give life back to the land. And welcome all of her rainbow children that bridge the ocean of peace. That bridge the